Hello, everyone. Welcome to our January board meeting. I'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America
and to the republic
which stands
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is always difficult with Zoom, but we do our absolute very best. The intention is right, well intentioned. Okay. Our first special report, and one we are looking forward to indeed, is North Colony Kids Who Care, and it's Liliana Corey, who is a second grader at Latham Ridge. And so how about an introduction?
Sure. Hi, good evening. Heidi Weber. I'm the communication specialist for North Colony. Good evening, Liliana and Mom, Angela, and Liliana's father, Brian, and her teacher, Ms. Carlasio. So I'm so pleased to see you, Liliana, because I've only gotten to talk to you on the phone. So I like to put a face with a name. So she's obviously our January 2022 Kid Who Cares. And she was nominated by her art teacher, Ms. Martha Hacklin. And here's what Ms. Hacklin has to say about Liliana. Liliana is consistently offering support and willing to make adjustments to accommodate other students' needs, specifically students with disabilities. She is attentive, caring, thoughtful, and aware of her surroundings. One of her best attributes is that she has this willingness to speak up and offer support in a gentle and understanding manner. She is a strong and gentle leader. Now, I should tell you, Liliana is 7 years old, and she has a couple of siblings in the district, one in middle school and another brother in high school. And I asked her mom about, kind of how did this happen? And it definitely has to do with parenting and the way that she's being raised. And Angela, Liliana's mom, says that you may see a young face here tonight, but Liliana is wise beyond her years and really has this kind of like compassion about her that exceeds her age. She has thoughts that are outside the box, and she is a kid that is way beyond her age. That's what her mom, Angela, said. So outside of school, Liliana really likes arts and crafts. She says she makes pop-up cards. So I was thinking Valentine's Day is coming up. That'd be a good opportunity for more cards. She really likes recess and math. And in math right now, she's learning 3-digit addition and 3-digit subtraction. She likes swimming and camping. She does a Junior Bison's cheerleading group. She likes bike riding. And when I asked her why she is so kind, she said, well, I just want to help students that didn't know what to do. They were trying, and I just wanted to help them. So I should note that Ms. Corey, Angela's mom, is a teacher. And when I asked Liliana what she would like to be when she grows up, she said, a teacher, maybe music or art teacher. So Liliana, congratulations on how you're doing in school. And everyone here, I can say on behalf of everyone that's joining us tonight, we're so proud of you. So I will, as I mentioned, I said the board members might want to ask you some questions. So I'll leave it to Ms. Harrison. Would you like to ask Liliana anything?
Well, I would just like to make a comment. To be a leader and to be a strong leader, and then combine that with being thoughtful and kind and compassionate. I mean, that's what special leadership is. And I just want to mention that we need more leaders in the United States of America like you. So that would be what I would have to say. The idea that you are sensitive to other people's needs and students with disabilities. I like the fact that you're outspoken. I think that's a great trait. And I know that you've had great role models. Your mom, your dad, Mrs. Carlaccio, and Mrs. Hackle. So thanks to all of them. And thank you. And you know, the board would really like to meet you in person. So we have a meeting next month. It's the 28th. And if you have time, obviously you're a very busy gal with all that you're doing. But if you have time and want to drop by, it would be an honor for us to meet you. So that's what I have to say, Liliana.
Right.
We are fortunate to have Ms. Carlaccio with us too. Ms. Carlaccio, would you like to say something about Liliana too?
Sure. When I heard about this recognition in art for Liliana, I was not surprised at all. This is who Liliana is every day. This is who she is when no one is watching her. Mm-hmm. And I'm very, very proud of her.
Mm-hmm.
So, Liliana, what do you think? How do you feel about getting this amazing award?
I'm happy because usually only my brothers get awards because they're older.
Well,
good reason.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And Mom and Dad, you can let me know about next month if you think you might be able to make it. We'd certainly love to see you in person. And either way, we'll get you your certificate for your award.
Thank you. Thank you, Liliana.
Yes.
Congratulations.
We're all applauding.
So feel free to hop off as the board continues the rest of their business. And Ms. Corey, I'll be in touch.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Bye, sweetie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye,
Good
Mr.
night.
Corey. Bye, Ms. Corey.
Bye.
Bye, Ms. Carlaccio.
Bye, Heidi. Thank you.
I'm going to stay on if that's okay to listen.
Oh,
There's
that's
some
fine. I didn't
presentation.
know whether you were leaving.
No.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Next, a special report from Trapini, who is our Blue Creek principal.
May I share my screen now?
Love to see it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so these are just a little recap of what's going on at Blue Creek this fall. We have, as a building council, we decided to start sending out a postcard every year with some information about the school and some of our values. And this year we added something on the back where families could write down the names of all the teachers that their child works with. So they'd have that information on hand. This is a little image of part of our postcards that we sent home with students the first week of school. This year, we are doing some work with equity with our staff members. We're working on reading some articles. We're meeting in small groups as teams to talk about how we can strengthen these elements of our programs and reflect upon our own backgrounds, culture, biases, if you will, or and really be thinking about the multitude of cultures that we are in contact with in a given day with all of our students. We had Jen Samanek, who's one of our ENL teachers, come, well, through Zoom, do a presentation at one of our faculty meetings. So we're trying to keep these
Recording
ideas
in progress.
trying to keep these ideas in motion all throughout the school year. We have set aside daily time for social emotional learning. We have at least 15 minutes a day where teachers are working with students on community building activities, reflection, and also on social skills. Our school success team has posted a number of articles and activities and materials for teachers to be using for this time. We have a lot of different kinds of things going on, from read alouds and discussions of characters, etc., to restorative and community building circles happening in some classrooms. But it's been an exciting addition and a real focus for our Blue Creek teachers and students this year. We have been, oops, did I miss something? Okay. We have, our PTA has been really trying to find a way to keep our school culture and exciting events happening for our students in the midst of COVID. So we used to have a big parent as reading, pick a reading partner kickoff in the fall, which was a storytelling night. And we did it outside this year. It was a lot of fun. We had lots of families join us. We had teachers and student teachers reading, and it was a great night for all. We also really loved our arts and education programs prior to COVID, and we're trying to think of ways to make those things happen. We've had a couple of artists join us through Zoom. This fall, we had James Bruchak, who is an author, storyteller, and outdoor educator from a local Indigenous community. He told stories in a traditional style with our 4th and 5th grade students. We did this in October, the day after our nation's first Indigenous Peoples Day. And the kids had a lot of fun. It was very animated and kept their attention. And even at the end, showed them how to make fire with a stick, and the kids were pretty excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Our PTA, again, trying to keep some fun things going in the midst of COVID. So we had used to have a harvest dance, and this year we had trunk or treat. You'll see Miss Sosiak, one of our kindergarten teachers here, dressed as a mermaid in the back of her vehicle, all geared up for the trick or treaters. We also have one of our state troopers. We had you might be able to see the fire truck ladder up there. We had a lot of fun things going on. And I really have to hand it to our PTA officers. We had, when COVID happened, a lot of things sort of petered out that year, and we had some really parents of very young students take over the PTA, and so they sort of just got things rolling. So this is Rebecca Cooley, our current president, and Javon Curcio, who's one of our other officers, really getting creative about how to keep kids engaged and families continuing to feel engaged with their school community. Very creative and lots of fun, as you can see. We had a book fair this December, and the PTA made sure that every kid got to pick a book. So they had enough money and points to make sure that every child got to pick a book. They didn't have to have any cash. They also could earn a book if they participated in our Pick a Reading Partners program. So some kids, for no money, were able to get a couple of books at our book fair, in addition to being able to purchase if the family chose to do that. We also have a Present Palace, which is a really special event we hold in December. The PTA gets a bunch of things that could be used as gifts, and the kids, every gift is $1. So if a child has $1, they can pick something out. And just to give you a sense of like gloves and socks and puzzles, they do a great job getting great stuff at Dollar Tree or wherever they're going to make sure it's affordable. And the kids have a ball with it, and everyone gets to participate. I wanted to tell you that one of the carryovers from COVID was that we are one-to-one with technology. And it's been fun as I do observations to see how technology is being used. So in addition to doing some research, this is a 3rd grade classroom, doing some research through our school databases that are on their Chromebooks. They also had library books. They were also writing there was a really nice combination of media that they were using and accessing. So a few things that are brand new this year. We have 3 new communications classes at Blue Creek, and those are our self-contained special education classes that teach academic and life skills. The students in these classes sometimes have autism or developmental delays that make it very difficult for them to communicate, and that is really the focus of a lot of these classes. I want to thank Heather Quinn and the teachers of those classes, because the needs of the Blue Creek has traditionally had magnet classes for students with significant behavioral challenges. Those students with communication issues are kind of new to Blue Creek. Southgate has hosted these programs in the past, and we were really happy to welcome these 3 classes. But I will tell you that the teachers of these classes, the teacher assistants, the aides in those rooms have been excellent on coaching the Blue Creek staff and helping us learn to make sure that we're meeting the needs of these students and that they are getting the most out of their education. It's been a wonderful fall. It's been great to welcome the diversity of students. They had a communication celebration in December, and so students, we had fun activities. We used our innovation lab. This is a winter bingo. One of our students is playing. This is another student playing winter bingo, and he communicates through like an iPad with icons. But the kids had a great time with this. There was some cookie frosting and sprinkles. And eating their work, testing it out. We also have a buddies program where students from our 5th grade class are working with some of the older students in the self-contained communications classes to be buddies. I will tell you, the students in the communication classes get a lot out of it, and our 5th grade students volunteering, sometimes fighting to who gets to go that day, enjoying working with the students in those classes. Also, our innovation lab is finally open, and that's been really exciting. This little glowing bee here, and I'm gonna have to, its name is, it's a bee-bot, and it's basically introducing kids to coding, so the kids can press those arrows, and you'll actually see these arrows are added on for one of our communications classes that was in there at the time I took the picture. But there's little arrows here, and you can program the little bee-bot to go around to different parts of the grid. So the students, these other stickers were applied here because they're the same as those that are on the iPads that the students are using to make it the same for that particular student. So I'm going to talk just about what happened today in the Innovation Lab. A kindergarten class read the story of Mitten. If you're not familiar with it, there is a mitten left in the forest, and all of these animals jam themselves into this mitten, and it finally pops at the end. But the kids read that story in class and then went to the Innovation Lab and had to build a shelter for at least 5 of these little, you see these little plastic animals. I don't know if you can see my cursor. So these, they had to build a little home for these little creatures. They were working in teams with all kinds of cardboard and scissors and pipe cleaners. So it was basically a problem that they had to solve. And this is another solution, a little giraffe home, and I think a yogurt container there. But the kids are really enjoying the lab. They're enjoying the hands-on. They're enjoying the work in teams where they're needing to negotiate, share ideas, and then put it into action. We also wanted to make sure this year, well, we've always had sort of a spot for clothing for kids who don't have a coat, forgot their coat, left their coat at grandma's, didn't have snow pants or boots the right size. So we have always sort of had a stash of this stuff. But what is new this year, and what I want to thank Brian Kraft and the maintenance staff for, is a washer and dryer that came from the junior high school. It was excess in the project. And Brian Kraft in the maintenance department found a spot that we could vent the dryer and get plumbing to. So we've been happy to be able to not only provide the clothing for the students, but also to make sure that it's fresh and clean, and especially in this era. We also this fall had our vaccine clinic on November 18th and December 6th. I've got a few stats here from our second clinic. There were 308 doses provided. And when I spoke with the people that ran the clinic, they were people that had done it all over the place. They were really happy with how busy, and that basically every slot was filled, and they were able to get shots in the arms of lots of people. So it was a lot of fun, a lot of energy in this place, and a lot healthier community as a result. And I do want to thank the Board of Education for all of your support for Blue Creek and all the schools in the district. We know that you put in a tremendous amount of work and are very thoughtful and deliberate about your decisions. And really, it's been great to have this kind of support as we navigate COVID and the normal demands of a normal school year. So thank you for all your support. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
I would only make a comment that there's always a lot of energy at Blue Creek. I mean, I think the postcard, Mr. Pini, is a really a great idea, actually. I thought that was a nice idea. And Blue Creek has always been such a welcoming community. And obviously it continues to be that. I would also say, good for our PTAs. Our PTAs do great work for the children of this district. And obviously your shout out to the Blue Creek PTA, certainly well-deserved, very well-deserved. And we certainly thank you, Mr. Pini, for your outstanding leadership of Blue Creek. So anybody else certainly can chime in.
I'd like to let Annette know how much we appreciate the work that she does and the people in your building. I think it's wonderful that you provide clothing for students that don't come prepared to be out in the elements, and then to take it another step further and to make sure that they're clean and laundered. I'm amazed by all that goes on at Blue Creek. It's a great place to be. Thank you.
A long tradition, a long tradition of goodness at Blue Creek.
That's correct.
And oh, here I am. I'm out.
I'm sorry.
Jane, for some reason, I'm out. Can you help me back in?
You're here.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
We can hear you.
I'm not on.
And we can see you.
Should I leave and come back in? Should I leave and come back in?
We can see you perfectly and hear you.
She's got to be able to see us.
Yeah, in order to have the meeting, I have to see you.
Yeah.
Would it work for me to leave and come back in? Yes or no?
Yes.
Sure.
Hi.
Oh, I'm back.
Oh.
I'm back.
I was having problems earlier too, Linda. I was going in and out, and I don't know why.
I don't know what happened, but
yeah.
I don't have a degree in technology, and that is obvious. So anyway, any other questions for Mr. Pini? I'm sorry about that.
It looks like we're okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Annette.
Thank you, Nat. Melinda, you're on mute.
Yeah.
Okay. All
You're
right.
having all kinds of issues.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time here. Just doing my best, as they say. All right. How about Mr. Phillips? We're anxious to hear from you.
Evening, how are you? I
Good.
don't have a slick PowerPoint presentation like you just saw. I thought, I'm hoping all the board members got kind of the packet that we sent you earlier last week. I'm here excited. I kind of look at myself as I'm the career guy at Shaker High School, and I'm always trying to develop courses and programs that, you know, when our kids either go to college or go to the career world, right to the world of work, our kids are ahead of the other kids in the area. I've been trying to develop relationships with the local labor unions, the electricians, the carpenters, and the plumbers, and the laborers, and the masons, because those are jobs that pay a living wage. After 4 to 5 years, these kids are making between $50,000 and $70,000 a year. After some of the apprenticeships are 4 and some of them are 5 years. The local plumbers and steam fitters, they are one of the best paying unions in the area. And they're proposing, and it's just not Shaker, but it's to 4 local schools. This is going to be like next year is going to be a first trial year program. So what they're proposing is that students would come to their training facility, which is right here in the town of Colony, and they would come on Monday and Wednesday afternoons from 1 to 3 p.m. We currently have a half-year course called Career Exploration Internship Program, where kids do 1 day a week in the classroom and then go out, and in a half semester, they do 54 hours with a local business in a career field of their choice. Right now, we do about 20 to 25% of our seniors every year. We send them out in internships. That's between 100 and 125 students. So we're real proud. We have one of the largest CEIP programs in the Capital District. We're excited, but the program we're here to talk about tonight is this kind of, it's not really a formal articulation. It's going to be a program where students apply to. Right now, North Colony, South Colony, Shenendehowa, and Niskayuna got offered this opportunity. What I'd like to do is I'd like to do an emailing to the parents, tell them about this. If your son or daughter would like to apply to this program, they can apply. It's by application only. Applications are going to be due by the beginning of May. And by May 15th, the middle of May, the Plumbers Union will say who is accepted into this program. It's kind of an elite program. They're only going to accept 12 students this first year. And so I'm really not sure what kind of applications we'll get from North Colony, but I think it's a great opportunity. Plumbers Union does, and it's not just what you might think about plumbing. We in the Capital District, with all the high tech and the chip fab plants we have, and even up in Saratoga, we have the military nuclear facilities and things like orbital welding. And there's all sorts of high tech plumbing, being compressed gases, compressed air, and liquids that go through these factories. And there's a huge demand for these people. So really, I'm here. Is there any questions from the board members?
I have a question. You said 12 people. That's 12 total, not from each school.
That's the way, yes. So the Plumbers Union, again, next year will be their first attempt ever to work with high school seniors. And their classes are small because they're hands-on and it's intense hands-on education. So only 12 kids from all 4 schools. And I've talked to some CT people from other schools. No one's really sure what we'll see for applications for school district. And they tell me that they're going to take, Tom Kerrigan is my contact over there. And Tom tells me that they're going to take who they think is kind of their best applicant, who's most interested. They have no commitment to this plumbers and steam fitters after the internship. But of course, they're hoping that, you know, the student at 18 years old will come on and be an apprentice and and work for them.
It's a great opportunity. It's really wonderful.
I think we all think it's wonderful that we want to create as many opportunities for our students as possible. And I think this is a great opportunity. And, you know, we also thank you, Eric, for your leadership on this.
I appreciate it. What I'm really excited about is when students get jobs in one of the labor unions, those are jobs with benefits, retirement, health care, a living wage. They can actually afford to come back and buy a house in North Colony.
Yeah, right.
So to me, that's a real job.
Right.
I know you said this is limited to seniors. Is there an age requirement or expectation? I mean, some of the seniors could be as young as 16 at the beginning.
Yeah, so they understand that the kids are under 18.
Okay.
So it's a senior only. And then you do have to be 18 to go into the union, but you know, it's a senior year thing, and then they'll, you know, if they enjoy it, they'll stay on.
Do we have guardrails in place to make sure that, I mean, I assume that the union knows exactly what they're doing when they're training new people, but some of these things are not exactly, you know, the kind of tools you just use around the house, right? So from a safety perspective, do we have things in place to make sure that our students are being properly supervised?
So they have a national training program, and all their teachers are kind of certified, just like our CTE teachers here in North Colony.
Okay.
We do have, just in our own labs here, in our construction labs and our metal labs, we do have, you know, industry grade equipment that we do have our students using, and we're, you know, real proud of that. I mean,
so these and we don't see this as kind of an entry-level course, right? These are going to be seniors who have done several years already in your department taking classes at Shaker, or could it be anybody?
So this could be open to any, there's an application process, and I would think that someone that came through our CTE program would have an advantage over someone that didn't have any CTE classes. Someone that came through our construction program in general, we have a New York State approved construction sequence. I think that would kind of give them an application advantage, I'm hoping.
And then I would assume that the hope is that if this works out, that it could maybe scale up in future years and be open to more students?
They are they're trying to figure that out. If they do it like a Monday, Wednesday section and a Tuesday, Thursday section, if they do double sections, it's new for them too. So they're really excited. They have no idea how to judge the demand they're going to have. They started with just 4 schools. You know, there's other schools that want in desperately. But we're kind of lucky that we were chosen to be one of the 4 schools.
Great. Thank you.
Are there any other board? Mrs. Pangburn?
I just also want to comment how supportive and excited I am about seeing this, because I've long felt that college isn't necessarily the right track for every one of our students, and sometimes I feel like we push on a 4-year degree as being the proper path after high school. So I'm glad that we're seeing interest and movement in other paths. So I think this is really good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Any other questions for Eric? Okay, not to be. Okay, so thank you very much, Eric, for being with us tonight. We will start with the agenda. So, all right, I want to just see who we have here. I want to, looking at my screen here. Okay, you know, I need a full screen of board members. Ryan, are you on?
Linda, if you move your cursor way up to the upper right-hand corner, there's a grid that says view next to it. Maybe your view changed by accident.
I don't know, maybe it did. Yeah,
If you
it did.
click on that, you might
Got
be
it.
able to
It did.
change to a
Yep,
gallery.
Yep, I'm okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sandy.
Oh, you're
Okay, I'd like a motion to approve personnel actions. Mr. Chavez,
I move to approve personnel actions as recommended by the superintendent of schools.
thank you. In a second. Mrs. Nardolillo, any questions or comments? Let's take a vote. All in favor? Thank you. Mr. Ford, do you have any comments to make?
Yes, so first of all, I'd like to announce that we are going to be awarding tenure to several members of our North County community, and I'd like to announce their names. First of all, Elizabeth Bissell, receiving tenure as an Assistant Director of Pupil Services. Beth is currently stationed at Shaker Middle School. Heather Carpenter in the area of English language learning. Heather is currently teaching at Forts Ferry. Kimberly Case will be awarded tenure in Shaker High School Art. Dana Caswell is at Bowed Hills. She teaches music there. That is her tenure area. Jessica Clementi is a teaching assistant. Jessica serves at Shaker High School. Mr. Deneen. Ryan Deneen is a central office administrator. He will be receiving tenure in his position as District Director of Teaching, Learning, and Innovation. Elena Easley at Bowed Hills in the area of elementary education. April Giltz at Shaker High School, receiving tenure in the area of foreign language. Zaquan Irby at Shaker High School, receiving tenure in the area of physical education. Andrew Crackett at Shaker High School, receiving tenure in the area of social studies. Diana Cantanis at Shaker Middle School, receiving tenure in 2 areas in English language arts and in teaching English language learners. Suzanne Lease at Shaker High School, receiving tenure as a teaching assistant. Brittany McCartney at Forts Ferry, receiving tenure in special education. Reno Muldoon in administration at central office, but currently stationed at Shaker High School, is our tenure recipient in the area of K-12 supervision of world language and English as a new language. Marcus Piccioni is at Bowed Hills, and he is the elementary principal, and he is receiving tenure in that area. Tony Rivera is at Shaker High School. He is in the guidance department and receiving tenure there. And Alexandria Rogers is at Blue Creek and receiving tenure as a teacher assistant. We also have some new appointments. I'd like to announce that, first of all, congratulations to all our tenure recipients. And I know, Ms. Harrison, you mentioned that you would like them to gather when we come back in person. And so we will be arranging for that to come back and have an in-person celebration at a Board of Education meeting with them.
Yeah, we really look forward to that because we do have outstanding tenure recipients and we want to meet everyone.
Absolutely.
The pandemic has been very bad for us because that's one of the things that's most special to us is meeting our new teachers and meeting our tenure recipients. So yes, we look forward to perhaps even the next meeting. All right, go ahead, Mr. Gore, I'm sorry.
And we have some newly appointed staff in our teaching appointments. Shelby Quarta Shelby will be fulfilling a long-term teacher leave in mathematics. And she came from the ranks of the secondary teacher residency program at Shaker High School. Bradley Boyles is coming to us as a business teacher in a probationary business position. Bradley has been a business and marketing teacher at Time Hill, and we welcome him to our faculty. Julie Oman. Julie is coming to us as a long-term leave teacher in special education. So we welcome these new appointees to North Colony.
Yes, again, we welcome you and look forward to meeting you. All right, we'll move on. I'd like a motion to approve recommendations regarding placement and classification of students, as well as the pupil services annual report. Mr. Johnson?
I move approval of recommendations regarding placement and classification of students as reviewed by the District Committee on Preschool Special Education for the 2021-2022 school year, and recommendations regarding placement classification of students as reviewed by the District Committee on Special Education for the 2021-2022 school year. And I move approval of the Pupil Services Annual Report as recommended by the Director of Pupil Services.
Thank you. And a second? Mrs. Pangburn, any questions or comments? Here, Mrs. Pangburn.
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Barden about the Siena College Transition Program. Just curious, and you don't have to answer it tonight, you know, I should have emailed you earlier to ask, you know, how many students we have going through that, how it's working, you know, is the experience a positive one for the kids to go through it, and what happens to them afterwards, you know, especially in light of what we were talking about a little earlier about the, you know, the trades and kids learning the trades. I'm curious about our students going into this college transition program that gives them, to allow students who would otherwise not be able to attend college to have an opportunity to have a college experience. So just curious about what that gets them.
Yeah, sure. I would say that it's been very beneficial. We're you know, fortunate always to be invited over to you know, see the program and also speak with faculty that's at Siena. That really, you know, it really, when you're there and when you hear back from students who are participating with our students in the classroom, you really get this sense of, you know, community, and that they really feel part of the campus and part of the school. And that's the feedback that we've received over the years from faculty and staff members as well. So we really feel that that is a highly successful program. And really what we're trying to also do simultaneously is give them that experience of feeling like they're part of the campus and part of that school experience, but also simultaneously, you know, build those daily living skills that's needed to be eventually employable. And I can tell you a quick story that was we just found out last year. Was one of our students that was part of that transition program over at Siena was actually hired you know, by Siena, and currently is one of the building supervisors.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, in one of our buildings. So it was, we weren't able to have the full-blown, you know, Siena graduation last year. And when a few of the board members were there, he also came down as he was on duty that day and was working. And so that's a success, one success, and there are many more of students actually transitioning right into jobs at Siena. There have been 2 of those experiences so far. But yeah, I see it as a real valuable program, and you know, frankly, they're building those skills to be employable. That's also a part of the goal of the program.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, that they, you know, that after all of this, after, you know, the Shaker experience and the Siena experience, that they can go on to have a productive life with employment. So it's good to hear. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
That transition graduation is one of the best events that any of us have ever been to. And I know Mrs. Nardolilla, and I know other board members have also attended. And it's, I'm just always proud that day, always proud of our students. And I'm proud of the fact that we offer this great program. I don't know, Mrs. Nardolilla, I know that, you know, you're a big fan of that program.
I am. Casey, I do have a question. Do you mind?
Sure.
I read that this year, because of COVID, they were not going to the campus. Are they back to the campus?
They are back on campus. So they were over at central office last year, but they are back on campus. So that's great news. And yep, they're back on campus now. So
Glad to hear it. Very good. That's
Such a great experience for them.
Yeah, sure is.
All right, any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. I'd like a motion to approve a use agreement. Mrs. Pangburn?
I move to approve the use agreement between North Colony Central School District and BBL Management for use of the parking lot for bus driver training as recommended by the Assistant Superintendent for Business.
Thank you. In a second. Mr. Shavo, any questions or comments? Mr. Johnson?
I'm just wondering if Mr. Hoot's able to answer this. Does this adversely affect our insurance premiums that we're indemnifying? I mean, I'm assuming this training has to be done somewhere no matter what. And I would hope that would be or assume that would be lumped into the insurance for our buses and drivers. I was just curious because it seemed to be a sticking point with them that they wanted to make sure that they had this indemnity.
Sure.
BBL, I mean, yeah.
Absolutely. It's a very routine and typical practice when using others' facilities, just as when other groups come in and use our facilities, we require the same.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. I'd like a motion to approve a resolution to accept a donation. Mr. Johnson?
I move to approve the resolution to accept a donation as recommended by the Assistant Superintendent for Business.
Thank you. In a second. Mr. Razio, any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. I'd like a motion to approve. I'm sorry.
I'd just like to express gratitude to Mr. and Mrs. Morrell for their generous donation to Southgate School for supplies.
Yeah, that was definitely very generous. All right, I'd like a motion to approve North Colony's continued participation in a co-op agreement. Mrs. Pangburn?
I move to approve North Colony's continued participation in the municipal co-op agreement for the purchase of diesel fuel and unleaded gasoline as recommended by the Assistant Superintendent for Business.
Thank you. In a second. Mrs. Nardolillo, any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. I'd like a motion to approve a pre-apprenticeship training program. Mr. Razio?
I move to approve the resolution accepting the proposal from UA Local 7 Plumbers and Steam Fitters Union to offer a pre-apprenticeship training program to qualify Shaker High School seniors commencing in the fall of 2022 as recommended by the Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you. And a second, Mr. Johnson, any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. I'd like to motion to approve the superintendent's attendance at a conference. Mrs. Nardolillo?
I move to approve the superintendent's attendance at the NCCS 2022 Winter Institute in Albany, New York, as recommended by the Employee Relations Committee.
Thank you. And a second, Mr. Shavo, any questions or comments?
Enjoy Albany, New York.
Yeah. Another exotic locale.
Another exotic locale.
Yeah. Also, thanks to Joe and Kathy and Gary Cimarelli and Katara Vincent West, who will be presenting at that conference. And so we're always proud of the work you do. So thanks again. I think all in favor. All in favor? We're okay. All in favor? Thank you. I'd like a motion to approve the following change orders. Mr. Johnson?
I move to approve the following change orders. 4 change orders, COR 058 through 061, totaling $51,544 to the Bast Hatfield Construction LLC contract. 1 change order, COR 062, in the amount of $15,178 to the Bet and Kring LLC contract. 2 change orders, COR 012 and 013, totaling $13,718 to the Family Dan's Mechanical LLC contract. 1 change order, COR 032, in the amount of $2,340 to the Hewitt Young Electric LLC contract, and 3 change orders, COR 046 through 048, totaling $30,728 to the Castleman Electric Company Incorporated contract, as recommended by the Assistant Superintendent for Business.
Thank you. And a second, Mr. Chavo, any questions or comments? Or Mike is here tonight. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, thank you very much. I'd like a motion to approve an MOA. Mrs. Pangburn?
Mrs. Pangburn, you're on mute.
Darn. And I was doing so well with it other than that. I move to approve the memorandum of agreement by and between the North Colony Central School District and CSEA Local 1000 North Colony Non-Instructional Unit number 6002 as recommended by the Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you. And second, Mrs. D'Orazio, any questions or comments? Mr. Johnson?
And I'll ask the question, and understanding that this is a personnel matter, if Mrs. Bongermino cannot answer it, I will understand. But are you able to say in this forum, how many people are we talking about here that would be included in this agreement or covered under this agreement?
This particular one is 53.
Okay. Do we know how this happened? I mean, clerical errors happen. I understand that. But that starts to add up at some point. And I'd like to feel comfortable that we have something in place to prevent this kind of thing from happening or just down the road.
We do. We've changed our system on how we do this, and we've added extra layers of checking the work that's done. We had a master spreadsheet that was created probably about 10 years ago. It was incredibly complicated and cumbersome. So we were trying to convert it to an easier process. And when we did that, we had the proration formula incorrect. And so we've now identified it. We've checked all of our formulas in the current spreadsheet, which will then just roll from year to year to year. But it'll be something that will be generated out of HR. But then the business office will do their own independent check to make sure that the math is correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, thank you very much. We'll just go to committee reports now. I just want to mention that we had an excellent science and math presentation on January 10th, and the minutes are included in the materials for tonight. We will have another curriculum meeting on February 7th, and we have 2 long-range committee meetings, one on January 31st and another on February 10th. So we've got some busy weeks ahead of us. How about Mr. Kaur? Administrative reports?
Yes, I'd like to provide the enrollment report for the period ending December 23rd, 2021. So this is the comparison to the baseline of the enrollment period of September 24, 2021. So it's from the beginning of the school year. So at the elementary level, we're at 2,606 students. That's up 11. At the middle school, we're at 1,426 students. That's up 9. At Shaker High School, we're at 1,994 students. That's up 9. As a district total, we're at 6,026 students. We are up 29 students September.
All right, thank you. And I think you have a few recognitions.
Yes, so Ms. Manzella would like to recognize the work of a high school substitute teacher, Mrs. Lisa Mahoney. Mrs. Mahoney is conscientious. Anytime she substitutes for one of our art teachers, attentive to directions and implementing the lesson plans of the teacher for whom she's substituting. She is actively circulating among students, has excellent communication with the teachers. And thank you to Mrs. Manzella, and thank you to Mrs. Mahoney for providing excellent support when substituting in North Colony. We are also recognizing Shaker High School senior, Ayan Barjir. Ayan has been selected as a top 300 scholar in the 81st Regeneron Science Talent Search. This is the oldest and most prestigious math competition in the United States. There were over 1,800 applicants for the 2022 competition. Winners were selected from 46 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and 8 other countries, including China, Switzerland, and Singapore. Ann's project was entitled A New Device for Agricultural Assistance, Crop Prediction Yield Using Satellite Imagery and Soil Data. And he was awarded a cash prize of $2,000 for his work, so congratulations. In addition, I'd like to recognize Father Burke. Father Burke from Our Lady of Assumption Church. We want to thank Father Burke for a donation of $1,000 in gift cards for needy families in the North Colony Central School District. And this donation made a significant difference in the lives of families, especially during the holidays, and we greatly appreciate kindness and generosity at this time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'd like a motion to approve treasurer's reports. Ms. Chavo?
I move to approve the treasurer's report for November 2021 and the treasurer's reports for the extra classroom activity fund for December 2021 and July 2021 through December 2021 as recommended by the Assistant Superintendent for Business.
Thank you. And a second, Mrs. Pangburn, any questions or comments? Mrs. Pangburn?
Yes, Scott, I don't know if you can answer this, but on page for item 5B1C, it's the statement of cash receipts, disbursements, and cash balances from 7/1/21 to 12/31/21. And so it looks like we closed out all of the 6th grade elementary activities and clubs, and those accounts now have a 0 balance. And it shows that there was an interclub transfer of $10,988.26. And I don't see that being transferred into any other account. So, but maybe it shows up in cash receipts or something. Do you know, Scott?
I cannot answer that question, but I can take it back to the extra class treasurer.
Okay, and that'd be fine. And then the other question I had on the student activities, oh no, sorry, it's a yearbook line under Shaker Middle School. It shows that there was an interclub transfer of $4,193, and then the cash balance is a negative number. So that would be I can email you my questions. I should have done that today, so my apologies for not getting around to sending that email.
Sure, if you want to do that, then I can follow up.
Okay, all right, yeah, that'd be great. And I also just wanted to mention that I don't recall seeing, the general ledger report and the reconciliation report before, but I like them. I think they're good. So I'd like to see the other accounts do that too, if they could, because these are just the high school.
Okay.
Mr. Hoot, can you copy me on that email as well? I had a similar question about the 6th grade fund transfers.
Sure, well, when I ask a question, Sam, I'll copy you on it. So Scott,
that's fine.
Reply to both of us.
Thank you.
And I'll include you too, Linda, since you're the.
Yeah, I would
president.
like that.
You should know.
Yeah,
You may as well send it to the entire.
yeah, entire board,
All
absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess it's a good question then.
All right, any other questions, comments? All right, all in favor? Thank you. I'd like a motion to approve bills and payroll. Mrs. Nardolillo,
I move to approve bills and payroll for November 2021 as recommended by the Assistant Superintendent for Business.
thank you. And a second. Mr. Komprowski, any questions or comments? Yes, seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. I'd like a motion to approve the investment report. Yeah, Mrs. Pangburn,
I move to approve the investment report, November 2021, as recommended by the Assistant Superintendent for Business.
thank you. And a second. Mrs. Durazio, any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. I'd like a motion to approve the monthly financial statements. Mrs. Nardolillo,
I move to approve the monthly financial statements for November 2021 as recommended by the Assistant Superintendent for Business.
thank you. And a second. Mr. Shavo, any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. I'd like a motion to approve the BOCES bill adjustment. Mrs. Nardolillo,
I move to approve the BOCES bill adjustment for December 2021 as recommended by the Assistant Superintendent for Business.
thank you. And a second. Mrs. Durazio, any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting, December 20th. Mr. Johnson,
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of December 20, 2021, as recommended by the Superintendent of Schools.
thank you. In a second. Mrs. Pangburn, any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, and any, no, that's it, right? Okay. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the curriculum meeting of January 10th. Mrs. Nardolillo,
I move to approve the minutes of the Curriculum Committee meeting of January 10th, 2022, as recommended by the Superintendent of Schools.
thank you. In a second. Mr. Johnson, any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, thank you. And I would like a motion to adjourn. Mrs. Pangburn,
I move to adjourn.
and I need a second. Mr. Johnson, all right, and all in favor? All right, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mrs.
Yep,
Harrison.
thank you for being here tonight, and we'll see you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.